Hi, Pam. All right, let's see. All right, I'd like to call this meeting the City of Shaniko Regular City Council meeting, May 11th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Call this meeting to order. I'd like to do a roll call. Councilmember Marquardt, are you in attendance? Councilmember Marquardt, are you in attendance?
Oh.
Councilmember Cagle, are you in attendance?
Yep.
Councilmember Brown, are you in attendance? Councilmember Marquardt, is Councilmember Marquardt on Zoom? Well, we're going to proceed with the meeting. We have a quorum. Let the record show that we have two council members and the mayor in attendance, and that constitutes quorum. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did we get Councilmember Marquardt up there? Councilmember Marquardt, are you in attendance?
I'm looking in the chat. Come on in.
Come on. All right. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda for today.
I'd like to make a motion to add an item to the agenda to discuss the city recorder position.
Toss me a pen. Do you want to put this up at the top?
Let's.
And this is,
Assuming there's a second and it passes.
and what's this for?
Discussing the city recorder
Just
position.
city recorder.
I'll second.
All right, one moment. All right, so I have a motion to add an item to today's agenda. The motion is to add an item that is to discuss the city recorder position. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion about this, or should we just take the vote?
No discussion from me.
Okay. Councilmember Cagle, do you vote yay or nay?
Yay.
Councilmember Brown, yay or nay?
Yay.
All right, so we've got 2 yays to add
Mayor
to the
Haskett?
city agenda.
I'm sorry, I
Is that
didn't announce myself.
Councilmember Mark?
Yes, correct.
All right, let the record show that we have Councilmember Marquardt also in attendance. That's Councilmember Marquardt, Councilmember Brown, and Councilmember Cagle. Councilmember Marquardt, did you hear that we had a motion and a second and a vote to add an item to the city's agenda to discuss the city recorder position?
Yes.
Are you aware of that? Did you hear that?
I did hear that, and I vote yay.
Okay. All right, so let's let the record show that we had 3 yays, 0 nays, and that motion passed to add that to today's agenda. We need to approve the minutes from March 8, 2026 special meeting and the April 28, 2026 workshop. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'd make a
Is
motion.
there a motion?
I've read both sets of minutes and I motion to approve.
Do I hear a 2026 special meeting and the April 28, 2026 workshop? All in favor? Councilmember Marquardt.
Yes, yay.
Councilmember Brown.
Yay.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yay.
So we have 3 yays, 0 nays. Let the record show that the minutes from March 8, 2026 special meeting and April 28, 2026 workshop, both of those minutes have been approved. All right. So the first item that we're going to discuss today is the city recorder position. Councilmember Brown, would you like to lead the discussion since you asked for that to be put on the agenda?
Yes, I would. Ms. Finkel, would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. Thank you for adding this to the agenda. I just wanted to let the council know that I'm stepping down from my position as recorder. I think it's been difficult to do this job to the fullest extent that it needs to be done, given my distance from Shaniko. So I am excited to continue supporting in the transition, but yeah, I would be stepping down effective immediately.
Thank you, Ms. Finkel.
Yeah, thank you for all you've done.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. So would you like to continue the discussion regarding the recorder?
Yeah, I'd like to pass over to Miss Miller, who's been helping out in her capacity as a volunteer with a lot of experience in city management and public policy. Krista, would you introduce yourself to the people who haven't met you yet?
Hi there, I'm Krista Miller. I have been helping out, as Ms. Brown said, for the past couple of weeks. As I don't know what my role has been, sort of an interim recorder support position. And as far as my experience, city manager, city administration, I have a master's degree in public administration, and I'm also a certified municipal recorder.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Given our gap given the resignation of Recorder Finkel, I would like to make a motion that if Miss Miller would accept to appoint her as an interim recorder, given that we're coming up on budget season and need to finish the year out. So to make it clear, my motion, if Miss Miller will accept, is to appoint her as interim recorder throughout the end of this year when there will be new recorder elected.
All right, so let me just rephrase what you're saying. You would make the motion to appoint Krista Miller as the interim Shaniko City Recorder until the end of this year, or
if we find another suitable
or if we
applicant.
find another suitable applicant. All right.
Confirm.
I would entertain a second.
I'll second.
I've got a second from Councilmember Cagle. So is there any more discussion? Councilmember Marquardt, do you have any discussion before I call for a vote on this?
Yeah, I just would make one comment. It is my personal and professional opinion that this should be an elected position, as it is an elected position. And I think that it ought to be done by a special election ballot vote. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you
This
very
is
much.
Lisa Gamby. Mayor Haskett, do you mind if I step
Hello,
in?
Ms. Gamby. How are you?
Because I used to be the
Please,
Wasco
Ms. Gamby,
County
go ahead.
clerk. So, as Wasco County
Go
clerk,
ahead,
if
please.
I am. Can you not hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So when
I can hear you, yes.
when there is a vacancy and an elected position, the council does appoint a person to fill that remaining term. And then a new recorder would be elected in November at the general election, which is when all city council positions go on the ballot. So the only caution I would say is that if other people wanted to apply for this position as your appointed recorder, then there should be that opportunity, but that's up to city practice. But you would appoint somebody and it would go on the ballot regardless on November, the general election.
Thank you, Ms. Gamby. Yeah, it is my understanding that Ms. Finkel's position as the recorder, she is an interim appointed because we've had 2 recorders quit in the last 12 months. So it's my understanding that regardless of the appointment, either today or at some point in the future, that recorder position is and will be on the ballot in November.
Correct.
That is the council's understanding. Ms. Brown, Councilmember Brown, do you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, if there's no more comment or discussion from counselors, which I'd like to make sure we cover that, I'd like to hear from Ms. Miller to see what her perspective is. My personal goal would be, again, for her to fill in as interim, and if we see somebody else who's excited to join the position, have Ms. Miller train that person so that they would be perhaps ready to either take over before the end of the term, if council so decides, or to be put on the ballot and is properly trained for a nice transition.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. It is my understanding that due to Oregon law, we have to get this budget fixed and submitted
June 30th.
by June 30th. We have Ms. Finkel and Ms. Miller have been working together, and my concern is that if we do not make a speedy appointment on this, the time it will take to bring up anyone else to speed could be detrimental to the budget process here in Shaniko. Now, that being said, I've got a motion and I've got a second on appointing Krista Miller as the interim Shaniko City Recorder. And that position will come up for election in November. So I'd like to call the vote on that. Ms. Brown.
Point of order, before you do, I'd like to hear from Ms. Miller if you'd allow that.
Sure. Yeah, Ms. Miller, go ahead.
Thank you, and I appreciate the consideration and the appointment, and I'm happy to help out in any way that I can. So I would be pleased to accept the appointment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. So there's a motion on the floor to appoint Krista Miller as the interim city recorder in a position that will be up for election in November. And I have a second. Councilmember Marquardt, yea or nay?
I believe that there should be an open application
Councilmember.
process. Yes,
I
thank you, Mr.
understand that
Haskell.
right now, but we're taking the vote on this at the moment.
I understand.
Do you vote yea or nay?
Or abstain.
Or abstain?
If you give me just 1 second here, there should be an open application process for 30 days. So for that, I vote nay in opposition.
All right. Councilmember Brown?
Yay?
Councilmember Cagle?
Yay.
All right, let the record show that the motion to appoint Krista Miller as the interim Shaniko City Recorder has passed, 2 votes to 1. Ms. Miller, are you there? Can you hear me?
I am
Ms.
sorry,
Miller, can you hear me?
I am sorry, I'm toggling between notes and the meeting.
All right, well,
I'm
the
sorry.
record, I'd like the record to reflect that we voted 2 in favor and 1 against appointing you, Krista Miller, as the interim Shaniko City Recorder. I'd like to swear you into office right now. If you would repeat after me, please. I, Krista Miller, do solemnly swear
I, Krista Miller, do
that I will
solemnly
support the Constitution of the United States.
I'm sorry, there's some lag.
I
I'm going
think
to
we've
turn
got
my
a little
video off.
lag.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll start over for you, Krista. I, Krista Miller, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I, Krista Miller, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws and of the state of Oregon, and that I will, to the best of my ability, faithfully perform the duties of interim recorder of Shaniko, Oregon.
I'm sorry, that was a lot.
And the Constitution and laws of the state of Oregon,
And the Constitution and the laws of the state of Oregon,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and I will, to the best of my ability,
faithfully perform the duties of interim recorder of Shaniko, Oregon.
faithfully
Faithfully perform the duties
Perform the
of
duties-
interim recorder.
interim recorder of the city of Shaniko. Thank you.
The term of this appointment shall expire at the first meeting of January 2026 or until a successor is appointed and qualified. Thank you, Ms. Miller, and let the record show that Ms. Miller has been sworn into office as the new Shaniko City Recorder.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's go. Our next thing after that is the financial report, the finance report. Ms. Miller, have you had the opportunity to bring yourself up to speed with Ms. Finkel regarding the financial report? The finance report?
I am unwinding back from your last audit, and so I just wanted to give some space for that. I'm compiling the documents that are available and um, just making sure. I'm sorry, I have a parrot and he's in the background. Um, it's, so I just wanted to give the council an update on that there is a significant amount of unwinding to do so that we can accurately reflect the budget this.
Okay. Um,
I'm happy to speak on the
Ms.
bills and financial report for this
Yeah,
month, just
yeah,
so
I'm
we
going
can
to
get
throw
those
this over to
approved.
you now, Ms. Go ahead, please, Ms. Finkel.
Okay, so for the month of April, we have a few bills that are outstanding, and those include the Modus Sanitary for $600, and that is due at the 15th of this month. And then we have Wasco Electric for the for the four different accounts that we have electricity for. So those total up to $671.57. We have an outstanding bill for the Abbas well drilling. That total is $6,116.55. The minimum payment due on that is $1,838.62. And then we have some other bills that will be paid for with grant money. So that doesn't really factor into what we have to pay out of our own city account. So our bank account balance right now is $17,880.88. Given that, I would recommend that we pay the sanitary and the electric bills. And then that would bring our cash available down to $15,658.31, which is still a good chunk of change in case we need to pay any of the other bills. But I would recommend prioritizing the sanitary and electric.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Finkel. Anyone else? Ms. Brown, do you have any comments?
I would agree, paying the trash in full, paying Wasco Electric in full, perhaps paying Abbas, well, the minimum, and then letting Miss Miller dig in to look at the finances because I know we've got a couple projects planned coming up.
Ms. Cagle, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I agree. If we should pay Abbas too.
And I know that in the past, the council has made a motion to pay these bills. I don't think that's necessary. Do you want to? This has not been.
I have a question real quick.
Go ahead, Councilmember Markwart.
It is my understanding that there was a sale of at least two separate city properties. There was a declaration of emergency that we declared. And my understanding was the entire point of selling said property was to pay off these bills. So why are we not paying all of the invoice for Abbas?
I could speak to that.
I have been in touch with Abbas Pump. The previous administration entered into a deal that violates our charter that included a 18 to 20% interest rate on that payment. Now, the city that we identified during the state of emergency, we identified three vendors that we were past due with that we were looking to pay and pay in full. That was at the time we talked about the old city hall building being sold to pay for those. We had not considered that this nice couple would buy the piece of property on the other side of town and that's that the city owned, and that's what gave us this balance. We would have $2,800 in the account instead of $17,800 in the account. I'm going to talk to Abyss Pump. I believe we should pay them in full, but I want to make sure that we negotiate with them and we avoid what I consider to be unlawful interest fees. So that's something I'm going to call tomorrow and talk to them. we're still under the state of emergency, so I do not need council approval to pay those vendors. I've already been authorized to do that. Councilmember Marquardt, do you have any other questions?
I guess I'm just a little confused. I thought the entire point of selling the old city hall building was to pay off these debts from the previous administration.
Yes.
So I guess that I would just like to voice my opinion that I think we ought to pay the invoice in full, particularly if it is truly a 20% interest rate. Whether it was the previous administration or not, it still is a bill that's due. And if it just seems like, the entire point of selling that building was to pay off the debt. So I think we ought to pay it in full. And that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Marquardt. Councilmember Brown, do you have any comments?
I do. This particular money is from the vacant land sold, and I'm trying to keep, in my perspective, trying to keep money aside for the water line extension, the sale of the City Hall building, which we'll go through shortly here. We're going to address that later in this meeting. That money, when it comes in, is meant to settle those bills. So I just want to be true to what the intentions are, and I want to prioritize the west side water extension line. That said, I do believe that we have enough, given this discussion, to pay Abyss in either its full or whatever lowest negotiated rate mayor can negotiate.
Yeah, that's my plan, is to call them tomorrow. Now I do have on the agenda here that to entertain a motion. Do you guys want to do it that way, just to pay the electric and water?
We always have. I don't know if it's.
All right. Well,
Let's continue
I
to
would
do that for
entertain a
simplicity.
motion then to pay. I would entertain the motion that we pay the water and the electric.
Can we pay the lowest to Abyss?
Well, I'm going to call
Or just-
Abyss tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm going to call
Fair
Abyss
enough.
tomorrow.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
So Ms. Cagle's making a motion that we direct the city recorder to pay the trash and the electric service. Do I hear a second?
I'll make a second to enter into some discussion.
Okay.
I respect your path to play the trash and the water. I'd like to amend the motion to include at least the minimum for Abyss Pump, given your negotiations.
Okay.
Would
All right.
agree
So
with
there's a motion to amend the bill paying a motion to include paying at least the minimum to Abyss Pump. Do I hear a second for that motion?
Full second.
Thank you, Councilmember Cagle. So now we have an approved, and then now let's take a vote on that. Councilmember Marquardt, yay or nay on the motion?
Yay.
On the
Yay. In
Yay.
support.
Yay.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yay.
All right, so now we've added that amendment to the motion. So now let's vote on the motion itself, which we have a motion on the floor and a second to pay the trash, the electric, with the amendment to pay at least the minimum to Abyss Pump. Councilmember Marquardt, are you yay or nay?
Yay.
Councilmember Brown.
Yay.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yay.
All right, let the record show that we have 3 votes yay, 0 nays for paying the trash and the electric and at least the minimum to Abyss Pump.
Great.
All right. So let's move down to the reports. Councilmember Brown, as the Shaniko small water operator, would you go ahead and give us the water report?
Yes, the water reservoir sits at 8 foot 2 inches at a healthy level. I'm sure most of you got a phone call from Wasco Electric noting that the power was going to be out, which left the water offline for a little bit. It is back on, and the chlorine level sits at 0.4 within healthy limits.
Thank you. I've got recorder here,
Yes.
the recorder report. Miss Miller and Miss Finkel in sort of a handoff mode here. I realize that Miss Miller is now the city recorder. Miss Miller, could you start us off on the recorder report?
Thank you, Mayor. This placement on the agenda is a placeholder for anything that Sarah may need to report to the council and Ms. Finkel, excuse me, and for going forward, a position for any other needed items. I don't have anything specifically. Like I said, I've really just been working on budget and the items that we're seeing today, so.
Great.
Okay. Ms. Finkel, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't have any updates besides the bills that we already discussed.
Okay, and then so we'll go to the fire report next, and that's me. So we did receive the wildfire staffing grant, volunteer staffing grant for this year. I'm not sure of the exact amount yet. I have a meeting with the fire marshal on Wednesday. I'll find out more details then. Um, let's see. We finally got our sam.gov account worked out. So we've got money coming in from the BlackRock fire last summer. We sold the state $2,800, $2,500 to $2,800 worth of water to help them at the BlackRock fire. And I managed to negotiate them up to, I think, 40 cents a gallon, which worked out pretty well for us. So now that our sam.gov account is up, we should be expecting payment from the state any day now. Other than that,
Burn.
oh yeah, we're going to talk so the county has gone ahead and enacted their burn ban. We are basically going to mirror that with maybe some small modifications. Keep an eye out on the city website and post it at City Hall if anyone wants information regarding that. I don't really have anything else on the fire department.
I've got one thing to add, if you don't mind, Mayor Haskett.
Mr. Marquardt?
Yeah, I just would like to update the council. We are still awaiting a response from the Gary Sinise Foundation for the grant that I wrote to get us a brand new brush rig. So hopefully we'll be hearing back on that pretty soon.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Marquardt. Councilmember Brown, do you have anything to add? Councilmember Cagle, do you have anything to add? All right, so I guess we're at public comment according to
Isn't
this.
public comment 5 minutes?
We can, in the past, people have limited public comment. I think that we have such a small community and I don't see that many people on. I'd be happy to take public comments, and I'm not going to limit anybody's time. I'm not going to put any time restriction on anybody. So if I can go in order of who I see here, let's see, that looks like Phil Brady. Phil Brady, do you have any comments or questions that you'd like to ask of the council?
Yeah, just good. I'm glad to hear that you're getting money for the water for the fires. That's great. And a quick reminder that election time is here, and I'll defer to former Clerk Gamby. Where is the nearest drop box for election?
I believe that's in the Dalles, isn't it?
Should let her speak.
Oh, yes. I'll turn this over to Miss Gamby. Go ahead, Miss Gamby.
Hi, so I appreciate being allowed public comment. I just am introducing myself. I was the former Wasco County Clerk for 9.5 years. I worked with Shaniko very closely during that time. I am running for Wasco County Commissioner, position 1. So Phil Brady is Commissioner in position 3, and I am running for the open seat that Scott Hagee is vacating. So your nearest drop box is in Maupin. Or if you have people that go to Madras, you can actually put it in a Jefferson County drop box, and they will forward it to Wasco County as well. But from Shaniko, given the tight timelines now, well, in the next day or two is still probably fine to mail a ballot, but if you want to be safe, Maupin is your closest drop box.
Gotcha. And let me ask you a quick question, Ms. Gamby. Is there a chain of command issue? Is it legal for, we have a lot of people that don't drive or elderly on fixed incomes, retired, maybe lack of mobility. Is that an acceptable thing for someone that is not a household member or family member to collect their ballot and put it in the box for them?
So it is not recommended. It can be done. It's not prohibited by law. But if it was to be found out that somebody who collected a ballot failed to turn it in, it would be $1,000 fine per ballot.
Okay.
So we just, with vote by mail, you're better off taking it to your local post office and asking them to put a hand stamp postmark on it so that the clerk's office will know when it arrives that it was actually submitted in Antelope on election day or before. That's just a safeguard.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Gamby. It looks like we
Mayor,
have, yes.
may I ask Miss Gabby a question?
Who's speaking? I can't tell who's speaking.
Sorry, Krista, my
Go
feed
ahead.
is slow. What is the process for getting a drop box in Shaniko?
You would contact the clerk's office and talk to Chrissy Zog. She is the current Wasco County clerk, and she would evaluate whether it makes sense and is possible to have a drop box located at City Hall. There's some requirements around security. So it isn't just a you ask and it all works out. The other issue that they have to consider is usually it's the sheriff's deputies who go and pick up the ballots from those drop boxes. And it does mean that somebody from Shaniko would have to close the box at 8 p.m. and then wait until a sheriff's deputy showed up out here to be able to open the box and take the ballots out. And they put it in a bag, they lock it, secure it, and then they drive it back to the Dalles where they get processed. So,
Thank
but
you.
the first step is to talk to Chrissy Zog.
Thank you. That's an excellent question.
Commissioner.
Commissioner Brady, do you have a follow-up question?
Just for the record, there is a drop box in Simnasho, which has a similar distance to the Dalles.
Okay, thank you. So before I go to Dave, it looks like there's one person I don't recognize on the Zoom meeting. Is that unidentified person have any comments or questions that they would like to ask?
None, Mayor.
None. Okay. All right, David Lyle, thank you for being here in person.
Thank you guys for all the effort you put forward. I would like to take a minute to offer a few different ideas. And one of them is very simple. What if we turned our post office into the style of post office where we could go like the one we have in Redmond until midnight and then it reopens at 5, or external boxes, because sometimes I get called out of town. I cannot physically be here when it's time to get mail. And so if I could get it at 8 p.m., that would be helpful. I don't think there's a lot of volume of money moving through our post office, typically. And so that's just one idea. Another idea is for us to come up with some sort of catchphrase or something for the people that are driving through town. So nice, you respect our community at 40 miles an hour. And those who go over 55 will get a really nice note from our town.
Sure.
We need to slow down the traffic because it is deadly. It took 8 minutes to cross the highway this Saturday when I tried to cross it. So I just want to put a perspective on, in Oregon, if there's a person at the edge of the highway street, legally every car is to stop. Pedestrians are 100% have the right of way. So I've contacted ODOT and asked for a crosswalk or a crosswalk signal, and they just kind of blew me off. But I'll just keep calm. So the last thing I'd like to bring up is a note that was posted on public property, and it's from Shaniko Citizens, Property Owner and Friends United. And they discuss the part that I do own the property that is in a historic zone, that's for sure. but then they accuse me of installing semi-trailers to just sit on my property. And that part is totally untrue. The original intent was to use those trucks on the other piece of property I own for storage units. And that's specifically why I bought them. But we ran out of time before the soil would hold up a semi-truck driving the trailers through. So that's why they ended up sitting there. But because I did make an effort to purchase them with permanent plates, Oregon permanent plates, they could be parked on any street, any town, anytime for 45 continuous days. So I was very careful when I bought these things. I wasn't trying to violate any laws or cause any traffic problems. I worked with ODOT for 3 years, installing 300 traffic signal devices and lights throughout Portland, down as far as Medford, and all the way up to Seattle. So I understand how their system works and who you talk to get stuff done. So with that, the Citizens United asked the council to rectify these violations in a timely manner. Failure to do so of these requests from the Shaniko citizens and the property owners, Friends United, is asking for immediate recommendations when I found this posted letter. And first of all, I'm hurt because I've had the exact same phone number for 32 years. So it's posted everywhere. If you need to call me, it says Dave and my phone number. So number one, I was never advised of any of this until after the fact. So I kind of remember what I was taught, that people in glass houses should not throw rocks. And the people from Citizens United, Property Owners and Friends United, kind of missed the point that they're in violation of every single law they have asked me to correct. And furthermore, they have made statements that have made the city look foolish to outsiders. And I'll set an example. Do not cross this property or you will be liable on a public street. So those kind of things just absolutely cannot go forward. It's discrimination in its purest form to say that I'm violating the law and the other people are not. I suppose we just need to stand back, be objective, and have a little bit of patience, understanding Shaniko is a place you can work until the end of November sometimes, and then again in April. Nothing in between because your car sinks. So I hope the council will accept what I have to say and put this in the ledger so that next time anyone has any questions, they're more than welcome to use the telephone to ask me in person. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Lyle. We always appreciate having you in attendance here in the meetings. All right, so we're going to move on here.
Thank you.
Right, so we've got some volunteer descriptions that we've put together for the people who work with us, for us, not really for us, everybody's a volunteer, but somebody who's cleaning the bathroom, the recorder position, the council members, the trash person, and these were in your packets. Have you had a chance to look these over?
Yes, yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
And Mayor,
For
point of
making
order,
those.
before we get there, I'd like to discuss the proclamation declaring May as Volunteer Month, because I think it's a really nice transition.
Oh, it's volunteer. Sure. Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to really thank all the volunteers the city runs on all volunteer hours. We put in our effort, we put in our love, we put in our civic pride, and all of these things coming together really help with shared responsibility and civic duty. So I just want to take a moment here to personally thank all of the volunteers who have put in time and This volunteer proclamation would declare May as our volunteer month going forward. So if you see a volunteer on the street, whether it's someone who's picking up the trash or cleaning a restroom, give them a quick thank you.
All right, I'll read this proclamation out. It says, whereas the city of Shaniko recognizes that volunteers are essential to the strength, resilience, and vitality of our community. And whereas volunteers contribute countless hours of service that support local government functions, community events, public safety efforts, historic preservation, and quality of life for residents and visitors alike. And whereas Shaniko's rich history and continued preservation as a unique and valued place are made possible in part through the dedication of individuals who give their time, skills, and energy without expectation of compensation. And whereas volunteerism fosters civic pride, strengthens community connections, and encourages a spirit of cooperation and shared responsibility, and whereas the city of Shaniko encourages all residents to recognize the value of volunteer service and consider ways to contribute to the betterment of this community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council and the City of Shaniko hereby declare the month of May as Volunteer Month in the City of Shaniko. And be it further proclaimed that all residents are encouraged to honor and thank those who volunteer their time and to participate in volunteer opportunities that support the community. This date, May 11th, 2026.
Great.
And I'm going to go ahead and sign it right now. So we've got a resolution, we were talking about a resolution here for contracting. I assume that you've had a chance to look this over. Councilmember Marquardt, have you had a chance to look this over?
I have, yes. The one thing I would add is that typically for public works, the Construction Contractors Board does require what's called a public works bond of $30,000. It is not too terribly hard to obtain it. I want to say it's $300 or $400 a year, but that technically should be on file for any quote unquote contractor doing work on public property.
Councilmember Brown, do you have any comments?
I do not.
Councilmember Cagle, do you have any comments?
Nope.
I would entertain a motion to accept this as is. Do you have any discussion about it? Do you want to table it? What's your thought process on pushing this resolution forward?
I would like to clarify for record that we're discussing Resolution 2026-02 entitled Resolution Adopting Public Contracting Rules and Procedures and Repealing Any Conflicting Documents.
Is that something we need to read a few times and before voting on it, or?
Well, it should be reading.
No, it's just once.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you want me to read it aloud, or you want to?
I think we should read
I
it.
don't think we need to read it aloud.
We
You've read
have
it.
the option
I have read
to, the idea is that as a consent agenda, if we confirm that all counselors have read it, then we're okay to go forward. And one more clarification, resolutions are okay to pass in a meeting, but the
okay.
ordinances are the
Oh.
things that need to go
Right.
3 times in a public hearing.
I don't think it's necessary to read aloud.
I agree.
All right, so I would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution, public contracting rules and procedures, and repealing any conflicting documents.
I make a motion to accept.
Do I hear a second?
I will second. And
So
let's
I've got
go.
a motion and a second for a resolution 2026-02. It's a resolution adopting public contracting rules and procedures and repealing any conflicting documents. Got a motion and a second. Councilmember Marquardt, how do you vote?
Yay.
Councilmember Brown?
Yay.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yay.
All right, let the record show that this resolution passed with 3 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. And so resolution 2026-02 has been passed. Okay. Right, approved request for qualifications. Ms. Miller, would you speak to this? The number 11.
Be happy to, Mayor. This request, or sorry, the request for qualifications, engineer of record, is for you to have a city engineer, which is required. And the city engineer would then give you consult on whether it be boardwalks or infrastructure, sort of a jack of all trades, so to speak.
Okay.
Yes, and there's quite a collection of what the stipulations are, what the requirements are going for a bid, and things like that. So in your package, you'll notice this is a handful of
It
pages.
sure is.
And
Yeah, I
and
was
towards
reading
the end, there is a proposed schedule of when you would supposedly interview if you were to get any of these bids back. And I just want to make, I know I'm not trying to jump ahead of the agenda, but to make the distinction between the request for qualifications is different than is different between the attorney and the engineer.
I see.
Okay. So this doesn't look like we need to take any action on it, except to say that we're going to put this RFQ, post it on the city's website, and disseminate this into the community, either through emails or posting it physically in public spaces. Is that your understanding, Ms. Miller?
Mayor, you would post this in the newspaper of record, which I would assume would be the Dalles, and that would allow for anyone in the area or to be able to submit these documents, not just posted publicly in the Shaniko.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that then. I'm not seeing.
I think
Oh,
we'll
you
make a
want?
motion.
All right. So yeah, I'd entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Cagle moves that we approve the RFQ for engineer of record for the city of Shaniko. Do I hear a second?
You okay? You okay?
I'm sorry.
Yes, I'll make a second.
All right, it's got a motion and a second to approve the RFQ engineer of record as presented. All in favor, Councilmember Marquardt.
I would just like to say it sounds expensive. That's my one comment, but I am in favor. Yay.
Councilmember Brown.
Yay.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yay.
All right, so let the record show that with 3 yays, 0 nays, and 0 abstentions, we are going to put out a request for an engineer of record for the city of Shaniko. All right. Now, Ms. Miller, do you want to speak to the RFQ for the attorney of record?
Thank you, Mayor. The attorney of record being different from the engineer in what we are requesting, where we're looking for qualifications as an engineer. Here we're asking what are the quotes and asking more specifically, how much do you charge? Do you have experience in municipal government? And that, so you're not seeing the larger packet as you did with the engineer. And I would solicit this also on the League of Oregon Cities website, as well as a few other places. There is some notation where attorneys do look for municipalities to represent.
Right. Yeah, League of Oregon Cities in the past has been the body who has sent partial pro bono attorneys towards the city of Shaniko. I would suggest that we be careful and we make sure we select an attorney that fits our needs instead of just assuming any attorney that comes our way is but that is up to you guys. So yeah, I'm looking at this, the request for quotes for attorney services as it's written right here. I would accept, and this is basically not costing the city either the previous one with the engineer or this one with the city attorney. At this stage of the game, this costs the city nothing. All we're doing is a larger version of this 30-day situation when we have a vacancy on the council, if we look for it that way. So this is not costing the city anything. This is just us notifying the community at large that we're looking for a city attorney, which we need a city attorney. We absolutely need a city attorney, and the city attorneys have been both good and bad for us in the past. And I think we should just be careful who we. So I would accept a motion to put the request for quotes for the attorney of record as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, I've got a motion and a second to put out the City of Shaniko request for quotes for city attorney services. Councilmember Marquardt, are you yay or nay?
I am in opposition of this. I think it sounds expensive. We still have a $20,000 tab from the previous attorney, and the municipality's burned about 6 different ones in the past 5 years. So I'm going to vote nay.
Okay, Councilmember Brown, yay or nay?
Since we're in a vote, I won't add any discussion, but I will vote yay.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yay.
Yay. All right, so let the record show that 2-1 in favor of approving the request for quotes as the attorney of record as presented. Let the record show that that has passed 2-1. And just to follow up on what Councilmember Marquardt said, even though we have taken the vote, this costs the city nothing. At this point, there is no charge for this. There's no cost related to this. Okay, so now we've got the job descriptions. Council members, in your packets, Ms. Miller has helped the city put together some of these packets that outline the position, say, as the assistant, or this is the water operator, the trash, these kinds of things. This is not something I'm going to read aloud.
No.
Has everyone had a chance to look over their packet? Councilmember Marquardt, have you had a chance to look at these?
I did look at it. I am a little bit, I guess I have a question on why the city recorder is allegedly going to be paid $15.55 an hour, but the other positions don't seem to be paid. And then one of them said volunteer, and then at the bottom there's a salary. It was conflicting as well. I sent
Hey,
Council
Councilor
President-
Marquardt, I noticed that too. The public works. The public works, I think, is the one you're referring to, where it mentioned a salary at the top. The way that I read that was a potential salary if the council does have the funds to eventually pay. And I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at your email about an hour before the session. I sent over a new version, which, yes, in the public works does have the salary and then the volunteer at the bottom. So noted.
Councilmember Cagle, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't.
Councilmember Brown, do you have any additional questions or comments?
None. I would suggest that perhaps we go through one by one. If there is a job that we are comfortable approving as is, maybe this is the time to do it. And looking at the time here, if there is one or two that need some discussion, maybe we can visit that in a workshop. Give more discussion.
Sorry.
So we've got the positions that we have here are the city clerk, recorder, water master, which is the small water operator. Water master is not an actual term. Assistant water operator, fire chief, volunteer firefighter, and public works. I'm assuming that this is not a fixed and focused job description. This is a guideline, or is this what is this? What's your understanding, Ms. Brown, of how what the expectations are for someone who has this position? What's your expectation of their need to adhere to every one of these stipulations And is that grounds for having them not do the trash anymore or not clean the bathroom? Because once again, we have volunteers, so it's hard to ask a volunteer to do something more than they.
May I, Mayor?
Yes, please.
I think there's a balance here. I know that we ask volunteers to give their time for free, and maybe there's the idea of not setting as much of an expectation. As somebody who's volunteered for multiple fire departments, even though it was a volunteer situation, if I showed up late to shifts, I was going to be let go. That was an expectation set. I see job descriptions as something that perhaps is posted online, and if you read through them, high school education, desired, not required. A lot of these are reasonable. I read through with specific attention to the water master, and I would vote to approve the water master as is if you want to tackle them individually. And I'll finish with this. If you have particular questions about the intent, I would pass them over to Ms. Miller, who's graciously put these together to start the discussion and see what perhaps the next steps ought to be. Here.
Councilmember Markwart, do you have any other questions, comments?
Once again, I'm just not understanding why the recorder is paid and no other jobs are. The other comment I would have is we ought to have workers' comp. That's traditionally a requirement of any employment in case someone slips and falls or hurts their back, or God forbid someone has a heart attack picking up trash bags. Who knows? We should have workers' comp. That's my comment.
Mayor,
Thank you,
may I?
Councilmember Markwart. It's my understanding. Yes, please. Go ahead, Ms. Miller.
Thank you. So when we discussed these job descriptions in the other meeting last month, I believe, the two positions are paid, which is the Public Works and the recorder position. I will not be taking a salary. My function here is to support you in finding your permanent person that you do pay. As far as the fire department and how that gets paid, if that is something you would like to set aside with stipends, and I know that grants are something that you have to apply for on a regular basis. And if we were to put that into a job description and then the grant would not be awarded, then there would be a potential suit of sorts that this person had an expectation of being paid a certain dollar amount. Your volunteer procedures require that you have a job description. For example, if, like Mr. Counselor Markwart said, that somebody slips and falls, the liability that the city would incur by not having a job description, what they were doing when they slipped and fell, what was the expectation, what are the hours. This is a workers' comp nightmare. So in light of that, starting somewhere, if it's something that you just absolutely can't live without or live with, I'm sorry, then absolutely table it. These are living documents. They're not meant to be in stone. You can bring them up at any time and adjust them however you need, but at least there is less of a liability from my perspective.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. And I would like to add, it's my understanding that we have a safe policy in place for the city of Shaniko for any one of these volunteers, anybody who's doing trash, who's cleaning the bathrooms, who is a volunteer firefighter, anybody that's volunteering for the city is covered under the safe policy. Ms. Brown?
I'd like to add that one of the requirements to fully support our safe coverage is these job descriptions. So, for example, as water master, if I was up on the roof and I fell down, if I don't have a description that I ought not to be doing that as part of my job, then I can't make a claim against the city that I
Right.
slipped and fell on the job because I was outside of my duties. And that's why these are so important. And I'll re-stress that they are living documents, but that they are important to have so we cover our employees and cover ourselves.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. So I would entertain, does anyone else have any comments, Ms. Cagle?
No, I don't. I think.
Councilmember Markwart, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, Mayor Haskett, I would like to see a copy of that workers' comp policy, just out of curiosity. If you could email it to me, that would be great. Thank you.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the job descriptions. And I'm assuming that Public Works is bathroom cleanup. Is that what we're calling? Is that what we're? just to clarify.
Mayor,
And-
Public Works is the restroom and trash. And that's not to say that you don't appreciate the volunteers but they can reapply.
Right, okay, so the Public Works includes, and that is actually three separate people that do those. So, I guess they'll just sign both. Okay, so I would entertain a motion that we approve the job descriptions for the city of Shaniko. Do I hear a motion?
I'd make the motion.
All right, Councilmember Brown makes a motion that we approve the job descriptions. Do I hear a second?
I will second. They're fantastic.
I've got a second from Andrea Cagle, Councilmember Cagle. At this point, is there any other discussion on this before we take a vote? Councilmember Marquardt?
Yeah, I'm just a little unclear on if this is, are these people 1099? Are they W-2? Are we doing tax withholding? I mean, is there payroll? I'm trying to wrap my head around how official, quote unquote, this is going to be.
They're just job descriptions.
I think this is thank you for your question. I think this is essentially the job description, and it's a great place for us to start where there has been a vacuum of what volunteer positions in the community mean, actually. Like Ms. Miller said, this is a living document. It can be adjusted, modified, changed. At this point, no one is talking about paying the recorder. The recorder in Shaniko is only one of 2 recorder positions that is elected. I think that this, like Ms. Miller said, this is a living document. We're not actually we're not actually paying these people. We're not paying anyone right now. But this is the kind of thing that we really need to give to our insurance company so we can have proper coverage on our volunteers. So with that being said, we've got the motion and the second. I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote. Councilmember Marquardt, are you yay or nay?
I'm opposed, nay.
Okay. Councilmember Brown, are you yay or nay?
Yay.
Councilmember Cagle, yay or nay?
Yay.
All right. So let the record show that the City Council of Shaniko has approved the job descriptions with a vote of 2-1. These job descriptions include city clerk, recorder, a small water operator, assistant water operator, fire chief, volunteer firefighter, and public works. All right.
Fantastic.
I think that's the last thing I have on my agenda. All right, so at this time, which is 7:03 on May 11th, 2026, the City of Shaniko regular City Council meeting is adjourned.